hela vägen. Nej då, jag skojar med dig min vän, du är duktig på det du gör. Och det är alltid roligt att ha dig med och framförallt få jobba med dig.
Welcome to Uddevalla for the Swedish Grand Prix. Weather temperature about 18 degrees, but it has been very, very wet. Although I'm pleased to report the sun looks like it's about to break through the clouds here. The umbrellas are down, but the MX1 guys, they're going to have a tough time dealing with a circuit that's not been this bad the whole weekend in terms of what they've had to ride during the course of Saturday's qualifying races.
The glittering sea is always nearby. Uddevalla has 170 miles of coastline and a fabulous mainland with miles of dense forested fells. Here's the Uddevalla Bridge, known as the Beautiful Shortcut, and the fantastic coastal path, the result of much hard work from local clubs, schools, industry, the council and the residents. Here is Bohusläns Museum, one of Sweden's busiest and one of many interesting places to visit. A many-faceted workplace, heavily committed to the future. A pulsating core in one of West Sweden's best commercial centres. There's a lot happening in Uddevalla, the heart of Bohuslän.
Well, the atmosphere is starting to crank up a little bit here now that the rain clouds have passed, and this 1,500-metre long circuit will dry out pretty quick. Let's go down to the start line. Here's Amy.
I'm down on the start line for the MX1 Race One here in Sweden. Joining me is Sean Simpson, who had an absolutely storming qualifying race yesterday. How are you feeling this weekend? You look great out there.
Yeah, it's quite difficult today. Obviously, we had a lot of rain this morning, and track actually looked prime this morning, but then we had a load of rain when we were out and it was starting a bit difficult. I think the track itself's going to be fine, just hopefully there's not too much water on the track. It's plays with our goggles a little bit. But believe it or not, there's a little bit of blue sky out there, so hopefully the MX1 race shouldn't be too bad. But looking forward to it and try and get up front, get a good start, stay out of trouble, and should be okay.
Thank you, Sean. We'll wish you the best of luck. And before we go and see the first MX1 race, we're going to take a quick look behind the scenes of Red Bull KTM. Tony, you have almost a 50-point championship lead going into the second half of the season. Are you surprised at that gap?
Yeah, you know, I don't think too much about the gap at the moment. For sure, my plan was to be on the top, for sure, but don't really think about how many points I have. I want to win more races and more GPs, and it's important for me to keep going like this and finish on the podium every week.
And do you have a particular GP win or championship win that sticks out as being the most memorable?
I think for sure for every rider the first GP win is the most important win. You come from nothing and then you win one GP. It's something really special. For me, it's the GP of Belgium in 2004 at Namur. So I'm really, I remember really good this day. It was amazing feelings for me.
And you're going for your 6th world title. Where do you find that motivation to carry on working as hard as you do?
For me, it's every year I find a new motivation because it's every year looks different championship for me with different contenders. This year we have two new guys, coming, one from MX2 and one old contender for me, from Porcel. So every year it's like this, it's good, to find different contenders, and the championship looks different with new races and new tracks, and it's good.
With Tony,
there's always been a good relationship because he's always been a very simple and humble guy. Our relationship started when he was 18, and I brought him in the World Championship. He's always trusted me and the team a lot.
molto semplice, ha sempre
He's also been very cool. He's always accepted the advice we've been giving him, and even after the first title, he's always stayed a down-to-earth guy. Even now, after 5 world titles, he still shows a great faith in us, and we understand each other immediately in an easy and cool way.
Ormai d'intesa, molto facile, molto tranquillo.
If he won even this title, it would be very important for KTM, because it would be the confirmation that this factory has committed itself 360 degrees with us. It would be very important for me as a team, as it would confirm for the 3rd year in a row, and it's not an easy thing. For me, this achievement would represent the 7th title as team manager, which would be 6 with Tony. We've won with him the most, and this would be a very important thing. I think that very few riders have won so many titles with just one team, and of course I'm very, very proud of this.
Ken, you've had 3 GPs now on the new 450. How is it?
It's been going really good. I think the change from the old one to the new one is for KTM big, and also for me it's a different step, and the injection bike to develop with them to make it better, and everything is going really well. We didn't have time before, and also not in the winter, so we did last week some different engine changing, and it looked like it's going to get better and better every week now.
And things didn't quite work out for you in the Belgian Grand Prix, but you seem to be riding okay.
First moto got stuck with the bike of Bobby when he crashed into me, and then I had to come way back, and yeah, it was just so hard, and I was lucky the track was really watered good enough from the rain. In Belgium we have always that it's hard enough and to make up time, and the second moto, same story. So I hope for this weekend and all the rest I can have a good start again like in the beginning.
So a quick look behind. So a quick look behind the scenes there at Red Bull KTM Factory Race, and Tony Cairoli just taking a huge sigh of relief there, I think. But Jeff Perrett joins me from mxvice.com, or is it .co.uk these days?
It's .com. It's .com.
Jeff Perrett, former rider, of course, no stranger to the booth. But Jeff, conditions yesterday absolutely perfect. Today, a different story.
Yeah, picture perfect yesterday. Actually, you could get out. All the video guys and photographers were snapping away, and then yeah, this morning it was just so dark and grey. But the sun is now starting to come out. But I think the damage is already done.
Yeah, it was a tough MX2 race a moment ago. Don't want to mention any results for people who haven't had yet a chance to watch it. But yeah, deep ruts starting to appear. A lot of water on the circuit. It didn't stop raining until about actually 5 minutes to go, did it? And these MX1 guys, I'm not sure if any of them actually been out on the sighting lap yet, just to keep that bike clean and eliminate the risk of any water getting in where it shouldn't.
Yeah, and of course, as you know, we were looking at the track on, I think it was Friday. You know, unlike the deep mud of Brazil and whatever, this is a real different, it's a strange surface, this, as you and I both know. It kind of sits on the top, and it's hard back, it's slippery.
Yeah, a little bit loose gravel on top as well, so I mean, that's good for in terms of berms and everything else, but underneath, throttle control has to be absolutely spot on with the riders today, doesn't it? Because even when it was dry, the back end would just light up, and that would be it. But look at the water there, centre of the gate, over there, about 10-12 gates down from Tony Cairoli, who incidentally starts at the inside, having won the qualifying race yesterday ahead of Evgeny Bobryshev, Clement Desalle and Sean Simpson. This weekend, riding for Michele Rinaldi's side of the Monster Energy Yamaha squad. Gate about to drop here, MX1 Race One, the start crucial, and Evgeny Bobryshev and Tony Cairoli doing their best to get there first, but it's the Kawasaki's of Christophe Porcel and Sebastian Porcel who are side by side, quite literally. But look at the spray out on the circuit, all that hard work and all the preparation in the goggles. We saw a big crash here in the 125 European Championship race. They were first out in the treacherous conditions this morning, but looks like MX2 got through, no problem. MX1 got through as well, and blue skies on the horizon, thank God for that. But Sebastian Porcel, our onboard camera, he's closing down, or chasing his brother, I should say, Christophe Porcel. So both the CP377 riders. There's Tony Cairoli going round the outside, making an early move, as he has to. Jeff Perrett.
Yeah, he does. He can obviously work out that if he doesn't move to the front, Christophe is renowned to be a really good mud rider, super smooth on the throttle, and if he gets a run on it, look out. But Cairoli's dropping back. He tried too hard.
Yeah, he tried to move on the waves out of that right-hander, and just a moment ago, and obviously just ran too wide, got buried in the deep, and he's lost a position there to Desalle and David Philippart. So not looking good. Well, I say not looking good. He's still got almost 40 minutes to go. As Sebastian Porcel having a sneaky look down the inside of his brother. What you can see, though, is a very distinctive line that the MX2 guys have left. But see Porcel just trying to be a little bit brave. Sebastian, of course, number 11 on the left-hand side, just went too wide in that top left-hander and almost got buried there. Desalle, though, looking desperate to get through, as he has to. He has to.
He needs some result. It doesn't quite click for Clement this year, is it? And really interesting to see how hard he pushes. Also, really interesting, two brothers riding up front. Christophe is probably more in the championship running than, well, not probably, he is.
Desalle goes through, second.
I wonder if they kind of try and protect his brother, his little brother, a little bit.
I don't know. I think he still wants to go and win a moto if he can. Obviously, the name of the game here, because you don't know what's going to happen in 35 minutes' time, do you? That, you know, as he pulls a tear off and gets up on the pegs there, you know, a victory might be possible for him. We don't know what's going to happen to Christophe, but still early days. We're still yet to complete a lap. David Philippart's getting a good start. So too Tony Cairoli, although he's down there in 5th place, just dropping in now. Sean Simpson needs a good result and riding the same machinery as David Philippart's this weekend, so maybe that'll be a nice boost. Certainly looked good for Simpson yesterday.
He looked... not a different, yeah, you could argue slightly different rider, just that little bit more maybe confidence. Well, you could argue it was the machinery, but that kind of, no disrespect to Steve's team, but that kind of next level, that full factory effort, and I think Sean needs that, you know, to drive him forward.
Mark Deruva just pulling a tear off, and then Rui Gonçalves not having a good time of it this weekend at all. He squashed the header pipe in the qualifying race yesterday, had a couple of mistakes as well towards the end of the moto, and finished down in 23rd, and going from bad to worse, not getting a good start here, although came around 14th. So not that far back.
I wonder what the future holds for him as well, because obviously it's just been announced that Bobashev has already signed for Honda, but no talk of Goncalves. So
yeah, 2 years as well. So obviously Honda have got another rider up their sleeves, and of course there's all kinds of speculation around the paddock at the moment as to...
I thought your name might have been on the list.
Been there, seen it, done it briefly. But Tony Cairoli and David Philippart, we just saw them a moment ago, locking bars through that tight left-right combo before they drop up onto this side of the circuit. Christophe and Sebastian Porcel still leading the way, though, the 377 and the number 11. Then we've got the 25, the Suzuki of Clement Desalle. Bobashev is in 4th place on the Honda. He's a guy that needs to get some results second half of the season, which, of course, now we are entering that second half of the season, Jeff Perrett.
We are, I guess, with the pressure off, knowing that he's just maybe signed for another 2 years, that will just relieve a little bit of pressure, and he can go out and ride. He's had so much bad luck, and he's such a character. I can understand why Honda want to hold on to him, because yesterday in the qualifying race, he was pretty much, you know, the only guy really sticking it to Tony for a little while, so he's got the moves for sure.
Well, Clement Desalle just up the inside of Sebastian Porcel through that wave section. See the dry line starting to appear. That's how quickly this circuit will dry out if you just move that gravel across from one side or the other. But, you know, obviously there's still quite a lot of the circuit that's very, very wet as Sebastian Porcel just struggles for traction coming out of that final right-hand turn. Right, we'll give you a rundown then as they complete their first official full lap. This is the replay pass from Desalle. Tell you what, he came from nowhere, look, because he snuck right up the inside. Didn't have a lot of room to manoeuvre there, but muscled his way through, did the Belgian. And Christophe made a mistake as well, so managed to...
That is the correct terminology with that, actually. Muscled it. Because as much as technique is great, you can tell that that's got so heavy already. They literally just pulling on the bars just to get through there.
Yeah, in the first MX2 race, actually, while it was still raining, the bikes weren't getting too clogged down with mud, because it's not clay, is it, as you said already, in Brazil, for instance. But, you know, might be a slightly different story now as this race starts to dry out, but I don't think it's going to be too much different in terms of how much weight's added on. Christophe Porcel leads Clement Desalle. Sebastian Porcel is 3rd. Evgeny Bobashev 4th. Tony Cairoli, who we're looking at here with that yellow fluorescent helmet, he's in 5th. And it's the Monster Energy Yamaha of David Philippart, or it was, because Sean Simpson's just gone steaming by, going into that gravity cavity, if you like. And then Xavier Bourg, Gauthier Paulin 8th and 9th, and Cedric Subarat down in 10th. So now Leo is 11th, ahead of Kin Limstrom, David Guarnieri, Rui Gonçalves in 14th, Kevin Strybos 15th, Mark Deruva, Anthony Boissier, Tom Soderstrom, Santu Tienen, MX1 Racing Kawasaki, and Jonathan Barragan.
Interesting to see how Philippart reacts to that, I would have thought. I'm not sure. It's Simpson in and around. He wouldn't want the new boy coming in and showing him the way around.
I was talking to our French commentator before we came on air for the first MX2 race, and we were discussing the moves where people may be going throughout the, for 2013, i.e. there's the announcement of Evgeny Bobryshev staying at Honda for another couple of years, and then of course we know Tony Cairoli goes down, and Tanel Leok goes through. He's got a back brake problem there, hasn't he?
Maybe a stone. There's a lot of small stones, flints. That's not moving one bit, is it? Oh, this could be a proper DNF for the bloke.
47 points is advantage at the moment, as he tries to get that 350 back to a position where he can maybe just get back on it. It's not even a kickstart, is it? It's electric start, so it's working. He's obviously got something locked somewhere.
In the brake or in the brake pedal, maybe, in and around the pedal.
Yeah, just rock it back, knock it into neutral as well. I'm sure he has done, but Tony Cairoli, well, this is the crucial thing, isn't it? 47 points advantage in the championship. He's not going to give up, though.
I blame myself. Only the other week I was saying he's a picture of consistency.
And look at that, Claudio Di Carli and the boys looking on. Maybe it's a gearbox. Do we know what the problem with Van Hoorbeek's bike was? Because Van Hoorbeek came away. That chain looks pretty tight.
I think that's a stone. I reckon he could have a stone. Maybe even he's looking at the brake side. Of course, that could be a stone in the chain side.
Yeah. But also, with this gravelly condition, you wouldn't expect it to lock up like that. No. There'd be something more. So, drama then here in the first MX1 Race 1. Tony Cairoli goes out, it would appear at the moment. Christophe Porcel then has a 1.5 second advantage. He's trying. But that chain looks solid. That chain is solid. I'm just wondering whether he's just been unlucky there with a lot of gravel. From when he went wide in this corner, just prior to that, on the first lap, just maybe got a load of
you got to feel for him, but for us neutrals for the championship, it's going to make the second half a lot more interesting, because he's going to lose a handful of points.
Well, it depends who too, because he's 47 clear of Clément Desalle, and 47 I said, didn't I? Yeah, and another 7 points further back is Christophe Porcel. So they're not
being lapped. Laying the boot in, now he's so desperate.
Yeah, he's trying to just dislodge that rear brake caliper, maybe. Could be a seized caliper, could be a stone under the pedal. Could be the chain tightening up with all that extra grit in there, but an O-ring chain, double, O-ring chain I'm sure they'd be using, or something like that. I'm sure there are different brands available. But so Christophe Porcel, Clément Desalle, they're first and second. Here's our race leader, Christophe Porcel. Sébastien Porcel is third, Evgeny Bobryshev fourth, Sean Simpson having his best ride so far in fifth, and David Philippart sixth, Xavier Bourg, Gauthier Paulin move up to seventh and eighth, Cedric Soubreau ninth, and Tanel Leok is 10th. David Guarneri is 11th, ahead of Kevin Strybos, and that's already outside assistance anyway with Marshalls, but it doesn't matter anyway. He's not picking any points up from there. So Tanel Leok, Guarneri, Strybos, Rui Gonçalves 13th. Of course, the demise of Tony Cairoli helping that out a little bit. Then we've got Mark Deruver on the Ice One Racing Kawasaki, Anthony Boissier, Kim Lindstrom. So no change really in the order, as you'd pretty much expect with conditions being as they are at the moment, Jeff Perrett.
Yeah, like I said, as it dries out, it's going to make it quite one line anyway, and I think maybe alternative lines will start to come in towards the end of the race a bit more when it starts drying elsewhere. But right now, maybe this stage of the race for the next 10 minutes is all going to be a bit pretty much sort of follow leader, I would have thought.
Yeah, and there are lines to choose from, but where's Kenda Dycker, actually? Kenda Dycker, not a name I've just realised on the screen. Down here, 32nd position, so who's he down there with? Obviously, we know Cairoli's out. Jamie Law down in 28th. No Mattis Caro, we should mention as well. Big crash in qualifying, in free practice yesterday before the qualifying race as a result of a rider not jumping the step down directly before the finish. He was unsighted. Caro was committed to a fast lap and just cleaned him out and himself, and was carted off to hospital, and not heard today, but knocked himself out.
Yeah, he's not in a good way. I bumped into Steve Turner this morning in the hotel and had a quick catch up with him, and basically it seemed like he might have had a compressed, I think it was T7 vertebrae, and he's still in cloud cuckoo land, not making major concussion. So shame, because he was really going for a British Championship as well, and it looks like that's out the window now as well.
So 24.5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps there. Sean Simpson still having a good ride. He's lost a couple of positions though. He's down in 7th place, so he's made a mistake somewhere, because Philippart and Bourg have gone through, or Xavier Bourg, And is that him just legging it through there as well?
Yeah, that was just getting passed by Gauthier Paulin, I think.
Yeah, so Paulin
still trying to get that thing moving.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? It's going to take some jet washing, but yeah. But just looking at the results, Cairoli obviously had a pretty dominant start to the first half of the season. The double race winner in Valkenswaard round 1. He won back-to-back races, race 2 Fermo and race 1 Guadalajara, Mexico. Double race winner in Saint-Jean d'Angely, and of course last time out in Bastogne in Belgium as well, with 4 overall Grand Prix victories. The others coming from Gauthier Paulin, Christophe Porcel winning 2, and Desalle winning 1, of course.
I think I just saw Bobryshev slowing down. He just got overtaken there by both Gauthier Paulin and Simpson, and it looks like he's going to get picked off here by Xavier Boug.
Right.
Joining me in the pit lane, Claudio Di Carlo, Rebel KTM. We've just seen Tony on the sideline. What's happened?
Si è fermato la parte più lontana della pista, ma da quello che vedo in TV sicuramente è andato un sasso fra catena e pignone, perché vedo che provano a sbloccare, ma sicuramente avrà un bel sasso nel mezzo al pignone e catena.
Thank you. By the looks of things, it looks like there's been a stone that's got caught in the back wheel and has prevented the bike from starting.
Pretty much as we called it then, Jeff Perrett. Stones, a lot of them around here, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they hurt when they get thrown in your face.
Yeah,
so at least he doesn't have that. Yeah, shot blast the frames basically.
25 points being shot blasted or not finishing a race. I'd rather take the 25 points or 22 or 20. With conditions as they are, of course, anything can happen. There's Sean Simpson, 24. Yeah, Paulin has gone through. Yeah, Bobryshev. That was him slowing down earlier, wasn't it? Bin off look, right-hand side, sleeve rolled up. So Bobryshev still showing his 5th on our timing screen at the moment. Of course, we'll wait for the guys to come back around this time.
Interesting watching Gauthier Paulin there. He's trying to create a new line through that subsection. Going out might take a few laps for it to develop, but if he creates his own rut, because that's basically where he passed Sean Simpson. So
yeah, Tommy Searle had a nice
to be creative,
line through there towards the end of MX2, just getting out that inside rut and then middle to the outside as you sweep up through there. He was able to double through the middle ones and just gain a little bit of advantage and a little bit of speed through there. It looked quicker anyway, but yeah, Bobryshev dropping down the order, down in 7th as it stands at the moment, 8th, 9th, 10th. So he's lost a lot of ground as Evgeny Bobryshev, one guy who definitely needs a result between now and the end of the season. But as you say, Jeff Perrett, 2-year deal in the bag. Not going to be, well, I won't say too bothered, but he's going to alleviate that pressure that he's going to feel when he goes back to the truck.
He's a racer and he's an out-and-out trier, so he's not like he's going to go, okay, I'm guaranteed a ride for the next 2 years. He gives it his all every time. If there's ever an advert for motocross, the importance of getting a good start, it's Christophe Porcel now. Look, there's hardly any dirt on him at all.
No, in fact, he probably hasn't even pulled the tear off yet. But from on Desalle, and the thing is, he's in that position, isn't he, where he can just pick and choose his lines. Desalle doing a smart thing, actually, not getting involved at the moment, because you never know how much he's going to need those goggles in the closing stage of the race. Bobryshev cruising in, he's landed on that arm, split his arm open, I think.
Same again.
Is he drip? Is he? Yeah, I think he's bleeding heavily. Big gash in that arm, that looks like, maybe. So Bobryshev, yeah, definitely red through there. Going to go get that cleaned up, get it stitched up. We'll see him out in the second race. Build them tough in Russia, apparently.
Yeah, it's just a tough, brutal sport, isn't it? And even tougher with Bobby.
So Christophe Porcel, 3.5 seconds clear of Clément Desalle. Last time around, they've had 5 laps complete. Porcel just coming down to complete lap 6 now. This is that area where Caro crashed yesterday, but where is the gap now? It was 3.5 seconds, but up on the pegs, looks so smooth, not in a hurry, and this would suit him down to the ground, because on a faster track, he's just seemed to, doesn't have that same fitness as a Cairoli or a Bobryshev or a Desalle in the closing stage of the race, does he? You know, when it's a fast pace, and he can ride this pace all day long. We could be looking at a double race winner here and the overall victory.
When it gets conditions like this, he's renowned for being so silky smooth, but you know, obviously that horrendous injury, I think that has changed his whole philosophy to racing, and when it gets real fast and a bit, he's got a good ride beyond, maybe just on the edge.
Yeah,
I don't think he really pushes it too much.
No, and like I say, looking good, but can't think of too many French riders who ever look good in the mud, can you?
Not really.
that was me just being sarcastic. Jean-Michel Bale springs to mind a little bit.
All of them, yeah. Jackie Vimon, he wasn't.
He's not a bad mud rider, but
when his bike's going.
Yeah, but yeah, just explaining to Claudio Desalle what happened and all the rest of it. Came out of a corner, got into the corner, locked up, and that'll be it, I guess. But 47 points is going to be reduced somewhat. We did a team report with the CP377 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki guys a couple of weeks ago, and did a rider profile with Sebastian Porcel. Obviously, plans for this year, and he just said, you know what, it'd just be awesome, yeah, to win a race this year, but just to get on the podium. He had a tough year last year, didn't he? Crashed at Canada Heights, first round of the Max's British Championship. As we look at Kevin Strybos going through on Tannel Leok, I think that was in 10th position, or certainly he's down in 10th at the moment, is Strybos. No, it wasn't Leok that he passed. But yeah, big crash, and he was out for the whole season. So for him, just to be finding his feet, and 2 Porcels on the podium here so far.
That would be cool. He's also talking about Kevin Strybos. He's almost in the same kind of area. Yeah, you know, they 3 or 4 years ago, running right near the front, kind of lost a bit of form, injuries, and they're trying to work their way both back. Kevin Strybos, obviously, last GP was on it, but he's working his way up the leaderboard, I noticed. So strong ride at the minute, coming through, going in the right direction at least.
Yeah. Our final point score at the moment, Santu Tienen down in 20th place. Just ahead of him, Nikolai Hansen. We've got August Just, Jonathan Barragan now 17th on the LS Honda.
Nice.
Matteo Bonini in the points, yeah.
That was nice.
But see, that line just starting to appear around the outside now.
That actually almost made Leok look like an amateur then.
But that inside's so deep, and what we can't see, but what we know is in there are horrible acceleration bumps. You know, it's coming whooped out now, isn't it, in those ruts, and a lot of others around the circuit.
Yeah, so they're creating, like I said, smoother, not only new lines but smoother lines, because, like you said, with especially with these 450s, just really getting on the gas and digging these ruts out deeper and deeper.
Well, our onboard camera, Sebastian Porcel, has plenty of time in hand over David Philippart's, about 22 seconds. Sean Simpson, though, only 2 seconds back, so Simpson back in 5th, closing in on David Philippart's. And I was talking to our French commentator earlier about the whole, there's Desalle closing in as well, 1.5 seconds between him and Christophe Porcel. This is going to be the battle for the lead. And we mentioned that fact that, you know, with 2008, Philippart's came in as the #2 rider to Josh Coppins, who should have been world champion that year. It didn't happen. The title went to Philippart's, and then since then, Philippart's had to put up with Stephen Frossard, you know, getting better results. And yeah, you made the point. I wonder how Philippart's would feel with Sean Simpson just coming back into the coming into the team morning for the first time for the rest of the season, I might add, and B, sort of hounding him here. Might help Philippart's just step up his game a little bit, but certainly do Sean Simpson a world of good.
Of course, you know, you never want to get beaten by anybody, but I think the first rule of thumb is never get beaten by your teammate. So it'll be interesting if Sean tries putting a move on. I'm sure he will if he gets up alongside him. Christophe Porcel always just seems to be, since he's made his comeback, and well, actually, while he was always just does enough, doesn't he? He never seems to want to, you know, rather than clear off and win by 40 seconds, he just.
Yeah, and this is what I mean about if it was a faster paced track, which it might be in the second motor. Of course, there'll be an hour between this and MX2 Race 2, in which they can tidy some of the corners up. That's going to be a tough job, but you see how hard the ground is there just from that slick shot. But you know, I think his fitness, you know, very, very talented rider, of course he is, but you know, compared to the other guys where they're muscling these 450s around and going at it for 40 minutes, you know, he just hasn't got that pace, so having to ride like this.
Joining me in the pit lane, Jean-Jacques Lizetti. Christophe Porcel taking the race lead, but he's not well.
Yes, it's Christophe was sick since yesterday, so now he's a little bit better. He take a good start, and we hope he can fight all the races.
And it's great to see Sebastian riding in that top 3. What is making the difference this weekend?
Yes, we are in the middle of the season, and now Sebastian has better and better. Like we know, his French championship, he win French championship, and now he returned in GP, and he was 3rd. So I think it's a very good race for us.
Thank you, JJ.
Clement Desalle going through then just in the middle of that interview. A nice little move there. I'm sure we'll see a slow-mo replay in a minute, Jeff Perry, but when that happens, just talk us through it. But Clement Desalle has bided his time, hasn't he? He was 2 or 3 seconds back, but he's gone for it. Here we go. Here's the replay. Any moment now.
Yeah, he just, I think he just obviously maybe read him further down the track, saw going that inside rut, saw a back marker in front of him and thought, I'm going to go wide, and it worked for him. So I think he just got held up a little bit there.
It was tight towards the top, though, but it'll be interesting to see how Christophe Porcel responds now, though, won't it?
Yeah, very much so. Like I said, he just does enough to sort of seem to win when he does get in the front. But he's so smart and calculated, and that's the thing with Christophe Porcel. You just never know what you're going to get, and I guess that's what kind of makes him quite like the enigma that he is. But I think, you know, he might just sort of settle down, look at different lines. I'd be disappointed from a personal level if he doesn't make some kind of you know, retaliation. But we'll see. You never know. He might just think, hey, this is good for me for now.
Yeah. And Clement Desalle, though, he was long overdue a race win, wasn't he? Didn't come until the first race in Portugal, so round 7. And he was the only guy in the top 4 or 5 positions that hadn't won a race in 2012. So obviously rectifying that. David Philippart's won one as well, because, of course. But obviously won the Portuguese Grand Prix, was 2nd in Belgium. Would have loved to have got a result in his region of Belgium, but on course at the moment for a victory here in race 1 in Sweden. David Philippart's with just under 13 minutes plus 2 laps to go is 20 seconds behind Sebastian Porcel. He's currently in 4th place at the moment. So we've got a Suzuki Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 machine of Clement Desalle leading the CP377 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki of Christophe Porcel and his brother Sebastian Porcel 3rd. Only 3 seconds further back. So what you said on that first lap is a Guarnieri. Guarnieri's gone through. That's the downhill wave sections, the 4 coming out of that left-hander. And that looks like it might have been an over-the-bars moment there for Guarnieri on the Silver Action KTM. And the thing is, that doesn't look that downhill from there, does it? But you get over that last one, it's not steep.
It's longer and more. It's not steep, but it's steeper than it looks on television, and longer as well. And you actually, on TV, gives that justice there, for sure. Philippart's just kind of looks like he's out on his own at the minute. Simpson's just sort of dropped back a little bit, but obviously Sean's in 5th. That would be what? Would that be his, if he stays there? I think that would be certainly his best result this year, I think. Interesting as well how some riders decide to use the rag and towel and others don't at all. I've often, you know, thought about that, because very well you can get to wipe your gloves if you come off or whatever, but I've often thought, well, what if you crash on that side?
Yeah, but also bum bags was the order of the day, wasn't it? And Christophe Porcel, I think, started the craze in Brazil because of the clay mud conditions there. Not started the craze, but, you know, obviously brought it out of the enduro box.
Seems to make more sense, you know, than the towel, because it's all very well, like I said, if you fall on that side, then...
So you can literally, you know, dig back in your bag. You've got goggles in there and gloves, and it's deemed not outside assistance because you've got them on you at the time, you know. Gone are the days where you've got a minder out the back part of the circuit where they just go, there you go, son, out the back. But tracks are a bit more open now for that. But I think we're getting ready to go down the pit lane. Here we go. Here's Amy.
Joining me in the pit lane, Lawrence Klein-Corkham. Sean and David are both running 4th and 5th. They're having extremely good races. Are you happy with their performance today?
At the moment, yes, so 4th and 5th is okay, but obviously we're looking for a podium finish, not just for the 4th and 5th. So I think it's possible, but we have to wait and see.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what Yamaha want, podiums.
Yeah, that's what they invest the money into. You know, they've obviously had a lot of success in the past, but just not quite clicking it for them in the minute.
Yeah, 2008 was the last time they won a world. No, 2009 with Tony Cairoli, but that was back-to-back titles with Philippart's and Tony Cairoli. But and obviously there was a long period of dominance for Stefan Everts before then as well. Obviously 1 year breaking that up. That was the Suzuki of Steve Ramon in 2007. But yeah, in need of another one, aren't they? It'll be well. There's been 2 years of dominance from that 350 KTM of Tony Cairoli, which actually you would have ridden the new 350 KTM, would you, a few weeks ago or not?
Yeah, the new one.
How was it?
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of good stuff about that.
Yeah, it was really good. I've got to say that the 350 and the 450 have kind of met in the middle, if that makes sense. The 350 has got a little bit quicker, 450's got a little bit easier to ride, lighter, so they really cater now for what level of, you know, your style of rider.
Obviously, there's a lot of talk about the new KTM 450 in terms of the factory bike that Ken Dycker is riding. Fuel injection, I believe, that one. But the new 450 production bike, is that fuel injection or not? Or is that still carb?
That was, no, that's fuel injection as well, if I remember rightly, yeah. Testing my memory there, I can't remember. I'm sure it is, yeah.
And what about Honda, European unravelling of their new 450 2013 bike yesterday over at Honda World Motocross? What do you think to that, first impressions?
First impressions is a seriously cool looking piece of kit. You know, just you can tell the level of machinery, and you know the build quality is just, it looks really good, and the twin pipe always looks mean.
Yeah, it's interesting they've gone back to that twin silencer, isn't it? But this week, you know, the technical talk on it was brief. But it was along the lines of, you know, the way that they're centralising the mass now, the engine bringing it to the middle and lower down. They've opened that up to move the position of the exhaust pipe. They've gone for that twin pipe silencer. They've extended the fuel tank from, what was it, like 5.7 to 6.3 or something like that. And obviously that fuel, again, gets pushed to the back of the tank to keep that mass centralised. So
a lot of effort, again, a real lot of effort has gone into that, but it's not just a few little mods for this year.
Brand new bike.
Brand new bike, you know, Kawasaki doing a similar thing again, you know, they've really stepped it up again with both bikes. Do you know what, I really think the Japanese manufacturers have kind of like, hold on, look, KTM just keep winning, we've got to do something here.
Yeah. And that's good, because, I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years. Boissier is down there, and that'll be one of the local guys, I think.
Certainly looks like it.
Not riding gear that we're used to seeing. So Boissier then out of, might have been Kim Lindstrom actually, if it's 44, maybe.
Yeah.
13th and 14th position they've gone out of. Barragan's gone through there. But yeah, and obviously KTM ruling the roost, not just, oh, we've got somebody down on the top of the jump there as well. Didn't see the rider, just saw the bike. And that wasn't anything to do with this incident, but
there's bikes everywhere.
Kawasaki.
What's going on? Oh no, Philipparts.
Philipparts. So David Philipparts then goes out of 4th place.
Trying to work out where
that's just outside here. That's the first tabletop. So you drop down the hill into the valley and come up that little tabletop left and there before you head down.
That was him on top of that jump.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's bike, that looks like quite a huge one.
Yeah, because his bike's travelled there as well.
Or the bike stayed there and he's travelled, because if it could have gone over the bars on landing or something.
And the Monster Energy boys, they can see that from there. It's literally right across there from where they are in pit lane. So looking on nervously. See what I mean?
Yeah,
Towers
it's
there.
straight through. You can just see, and that pops you really quite high.
Yeah.
Even when it's not rutty. I mean, they were really popping up high over that yesterday.
So with 6:15 on the clock plus 2 laps, there's Guarnieri pushing himself back, or walking himself back from his earlier excursion. But Desalle has 6.5 seconds over Christophe Porcel. Sebastian Porcel is 3rd. Sean Simpson is now 4th. Kevin Strybos on the HM Plant KTM UK machine have rocketed up to 5th place. He's been having a great season, hasn't he, Jeff Perrett?
He really has.
Brought on by confidence of winning race again at the British Championship at home.
This is a guy that, he was 2nd in the world twice over. You know, you can lose, just as a confidence thing. You don't forget how to do that. The skills are there, and it's just that confidence and a slow rebound, you know. And we were talking to him yesterday, and that's pretty much the size of it. Just even racing and winning races on a domestic level makes a huge difference to a rider's psyche. So. And
there's a lot to be said about that, isn't there? I mean, we can use Mel Pocock, for instance, Monster Energy Yamaha rider, thrown into wildcard Grand Prix at 15. Too much too soon, and as a result of that, maybe there was an enormous amount of pressure on him because of the team that he was with. And last year took a step back, rode the relentless Suzuki for Phil Neal and Adam Lyons, and basically started getting good results in all the domestic races, to the point where he's come back to Dixon and he's now leading the European Championship and getting good points in
really
Grand Prix
good.
as well.
You know, looks like he's kind of bridged that gap.
quite sure who that is, or is this somebody else going down? No, just having a bit of a trial section there.
That would be me about now, I think. He's going to turn right into him, is he, maybe?
Christophe Porcel, no, he was lucky. So he's 7.3 seconds down, is the man on screen, Christophe Porcel. Apparently not feeling too well.
Yeah, so it looked like he didn't fancy it after all.
Yeah, so this is obviously paving the way for Commander Desalle, 4.5 to go. And that'll be Desalle's second race win of the season. Although, you know, let's not talk too easy, because look at the problem that Cairoli suffered. A locked chain and a jammed rear brake, or whatever it is that he experienced over there on that second or third lap, and has ruled him out of the race. That's why Tony Cairoli is nowhere to be seen inside the top 20. Speaking of which, let's just give you a quick rundown. Commander Desalle here, our race leader, Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MX1 from Christophe Porcel and Sebastian Porcel. Sean Simpson in 4th, by far his best result of the season so far on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Kevin Strybos, 10 seconds down on him at the moment in 5th, but he's worked his way from outside the top 12, top 15, something like that, maybe even further on the opening lap. So these conditions obviously favouring the youngster from Belgium. Then Gauthier Paulin would have been expecting to see him a little bit further up the field, but bad start and not really gone forward. Tanel Leoc is 7th, Cedric Subarat, HDI, Honda rider, Honda France, down in 8th, up to 8th, because he was down in 19th, 20th in the early stages of the race. Xavier Bourg-Knight, Mark de Ruver, reinvented himself there. That's David Philippart's girlfriend, just making her way around to that opposite side of the circuit. So Philippart's obviously not made his way back yet, so that doesn't look good then, does it?
No, it doesn't. And yeah, let's hope it's nothing too serious.
So Mark de Ruver 10th, Ruben Salves 11th, slow progress for him. Ken de Dycker 12th. So de Dycker has charged through. That seems to be his season so far, doesn't it, at the moment?
That's a serious. What was he? What do we count him on? 32nd, and that was what, 10 minutes into the race?
Yeah.
Those lanky legs have obviously started working.
Yeah, he's been running his bike through those ruts, I think.
Yeah.
Barragan 13th, Bonini 14th, Kim Lindström, August Just, Nikolai Hansen, Santu Tienen 18th for him, Tom Johansson and Vikitas Buchas from Lithuania down in 20th place. So 2.5 to go. A couple of dry lines, a lot of wet lines as well, but the organisers have got their work cut out here, haven't they, in terms of getting this track in slightly better condition. They haven't got too long in which to do it for MX2, but even still, just shows you the nature of this ground here. Will take a lot of rain.
Oh, it takes an awful lot of rain. There's no question. Look at this. Yeah. Sebastian's now pushing Christophe.
And this could be for second position. So
I think they've both got goggles off, have they? I'm not sure. It looks like it. No, maybe not. But obviously, that's a huge advantage to the rider behind. If you see a rider without goggles on, you kind of know if you can just make the move. It's so difficult for them to retaliate. So yeah, if he goes past his brother, I can't see Christophe coming back.
Throttle control super important through that left-hander. Well, there's the height on that tabletop that Philipparts would have crashed on. Bike travelled the length of that tabletop. Not sure if he went off the side and down the side or whatever. Don't have a replay of that, but. You know, just to give you some idea, and yeah, the guys were getting some massive air over there yesterday, weren't they? On a circuit that was just perfect.
It was perfect yesterday. That was the thing. It was so frustrating. Not, you know, I mean, some riders love riding in the mud, fair enough, but even from a spectator's point of view, you'd love to see picture perfect tracks and great racing, and it has just taken the edge off it. But you know, it's a world championship. You have to ride every condition, and that's what defines, you know, being a world champion.
They're having to work hard for their money this weekend, that's for sure. It's not the most difficult conditions that they've had to ever endure. Faenza 2009 springs to mind, the opening round where it was just one race was won there. But you've ridden Faenza, different kind of ground altogether.
Completely, that's the thing. Like you said, you know, this is. I noticed the bikes when they came in from the MX2, and like you said, it was raining hard, but it wasn't. It was only like a light pasting of literally like rendering a wall, you know. It wasn't, but not heavy sticky mud, so as it dries it actually gets a little bit worse, and then it dries real quick.
Ken de Dycker sets his fastest lap of the race. He bombs up into 12th place, just closing in on is he? No, he's got a bit of time to make up on Ruben Salves, so 12 might be as good as it gets for Ken de Dycker, the leading Red Bull KTM factory rider this season. That was a shock move, wasn't it, at the start of the year? Ken de Dycker going from Honda to KTM, but been making it work for him at the moment.
I think it caught everybody off guard, really. I mean, you know, that you could kind of knew that, or say by body language, or that, you know, maybe things wasn't great at that team, but certainly I wouldn't really expect him to get drafted straight into the KTM team. And of course now on that new 450, Ken's admitted himself that he certainly prefers it. Now he's getting to grips with it, so it certainly looks like he is anyway. He's absolutely ripped through the field.
Yeah. Looks like a smaller bike as well, doesn't it? Like you say, they've gone from a big bulky 450 that was in need of a major overhaul.
Absolutely.
Yeah, somewhere in between. Well, it's probably the same chassis as a 350, all be told, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can tell that when you ride it, it is not this sudden. You don't feel like you're riding a big 450 anymore. You know, like the KTM, yeah, exactly. The KTM just 450 previously seemed to be a little bit weightier and not so easy to move around compared with the Japanese bikes, but now it's much easier to throw around. But then you say a smaller bike, Ken Dycker will make any bike look small.
Well, today, I mean, makes it look like a Big World 85 or something like that, which KTM still produce.
Yeah.
Ken, here's Commander Sal. He's our race leader. Just picking his way through. He's almost 14 seconds clear at the start of lap 15. He's coming through to complete his 16th lap. The 2-lap board will go out in just a moment. 2 corners in actual fact. Made it look pretty easy, hasn't he? Got a good start, hung in there. Thought about going after them in the beginning, the leaders, but then decided, you know what, I'll hang back and bide my time. And then when he did go, he went, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's rode an immaculate race, and like you said, that's pretty much what he needs, because the last 2 or 3 years, in my mind anyway, he's been the real sort of threat to Cairoli for the championship. And I was really expecting him to really push with him all year. But the first half of the season just hasn't. I mean, I know he had the injury and he had to, and it just goes to show how an injury can it just takes so long to get back.
Yeah. Look like Jamie Law on the STR KTM there, possibly, but might be wrong.
No, it looks like him. Looks like Jamie Law
being drafted in.
Yeah. Sole rider out there for these guys right now, obviously, because of the injury to Mattis.
But he's enjoyed his time, hasn't he? Jamie Law in the last, 3 or 4 Grand Prix, riding for Steve Turner Racing. A fully private team in MX1.
Yeah, living the dream. Like you just drafted in, and then getting a shot at GPs, and he is enjoying it. I mean, he really is. And why wouldn't you? You just suddenly get the opportunity to do that. Probably not with much pressure either. Steve obviously wanted another guy out there. Make sure we got 2 bikes out there, and of course he's down to 1 again now, like we said, which is a real shame.
Just looking at Commander Sal a couple of corners ago. The ground getting a lot lighter, but it's still very hard and slick under there. You kind of almost think, dry line appearing, get on the gas, and suddenly that's when it's going to bite you, isn't it, if you're not careful. And not in a hurry. He's got 14 seconds, more than 14 seconds. He's just got to pick his lines now this next just over a lap and stay out of trouble.
Talking to the soil, like you said before, like when it's deep mud, sometimes you can get in a rut, but you still got that grip there at the bottom. But here, it's a rut, but it's a rut with a hard bottom to it. So it's still really, you can hit the gas and then you'll just be sat there, literally spinning on the spot.
It's just how comfortable or uncomfortable you want to be through that turn, isn't it? Being humped around all over the place, or just getting good drive, which is obviously clearly the better way to go through. But even still, when you're battling for a race win, that's Lindstrom, 44, so it wasn't him that went down with Porcel earlier. Lindstrom up in 15th position at the moment, just behind Matteo Bonini on the Marchetti Racing KTM. Alfie Smith in the points all of a sudden. He's just popped up.
Taruva in the top 10. There you go, for a guy that back doing GPs didn't really fancy doing GPs, or openly said he'd had enough of them, and gets the chance to come back in, and looks like he's going to break the top 10 here.
Yeah, he's obviously rode him last week, rode for the team last week in Belgium. Obviously Dean Ferris out for the season there. #1 choice rider, the Australian. Should have been an Australian champion last year before an injury. He's obviously picked up a collarbone injury or a shoulder dislocation just in France. The second moto went down on the start, and that was him done. It's a 4-month injury, out for the year. So he's working and rebuilding now for 2013. I assume with them, Kari Tiernan says they want to work with him for a year just to get the best out of him, and hopefully that remains the case, but who knows. Christophe Porcel's put a gap between himself, 5 seconds, and Sebastian. So Sebastian didn't fancy taking on his brother then, especially with Cairoli being out of this race and being, 47 points down ahead of Desalle. Be 54 then on Christophe Porcel, so he's going to close that down.
Just a quick highlight of how you know, the race can go away from you. Just then, he was coming through, being real careful to sell, and the rider in front of him
went from one side of the track to the other.
And you know, that could have easily, another 2 yards forward, he could have been on his backside. So you got, as the fat lady sings, you got to bring it home.
Yeah.
He's got a comfortable enough margin to do that now. I mean, half a lap round.
Yeah.
No heroics from here, I would have thought.
Well, they had a Belgian championship at Kester, which was in deep mud. They ran 2 of the 3 races a week ago. Desalle wasn't there, though, not riding the Belgian championship this weekend, so it's not like he's had the practice recently either, which is sometimes the best way, isn't it? Rui Gonçalves going from 12th place. Can't see him pushing that bike over the line from there, can you? Not really. That's quite a steep takeoff on the finish line.
That's the greatest push over the line over there. That beats Lawrence Spence and you know, and Ryan Hughes and everybody if he does that.
Well, Desalle, though, comes over the line, 19 seconds clear at the last count from Christophe Porcel. Takes his 2nd race win of the season. He's on course for, thumbs up to the team as well.
He's
Good
happy,
job, fellas. And Rockstar Energy, Suzuki World MX1 in pole position at the moment. Come on, Christophe Porcel comes over the line, 21 seconds down. Then we've got Sebastian Porcel. So we have a Porcel brother podium, which I'm not sure has ever happened, because one was riding MX2, one was riding MX1. They've won Grand Prix on the same day, but in opposite classes. But it's the first for the Porcel boys sharing a podium here in MX1. So good work, guys.
I'm sure that is a first,
Good work to the team as well. But equally so for these guys, because this second half of the season now needs to start for Clément Desalle. He needs to capitalise on that points loss from Tony Cairoli. He's got track knowledge, line knowledge now, bike setup for the 2nd race. And, you know, Tony Cairoli might be just a little bit behind the 8 ball, as they say in the USA. Tanel Liot comes over the line in 6th place. Yep, so both the Rockstar Suzuki's in the top 6. Jeff Perrott, you're about to come in and say something there.
Well, I was just looking at the leaderboard there, and just basically what a great ride from Sean Simpson, and that is his highest result this year. So, you know, I guess you can't. Well, you've got to argue that could be the change in the machine. Is that just coincidence? I don't know, but.
Mentally, it might have a bearing on him, you know what I mean? Rui just disappointed with that look. He was 12th before he went out. He might still get a couple of points. He's down in 19th at the moment. Depends where everybody else lapped up to and what opportunity they have. But a rider just coming over the line now. Tom Jonsson already through. Alfie Smith, he picks up a couple of points then, comes over the line, and Rasmus Sjoberg. So no points for Rui Gonçalves.
I think you're right about Desalle, though. If he's, you know, if he is going to put a serious threat into this championship this year, he really has to go from here.
Summary then, race 1, Jeff Perrott from mxvice.com.
Well, I mean, the conditions obviously played a major part in that. You know, you could tell the track getting more and more one line. I think Desalle rode an absolute blinder. He just, you know, seemed really confident and didn't, as we've seen him sometimes this year, maybe push a little bit too early, try a little bit too hard. But he seemed really calculated and made the move at the right time.
That wasn't the moment, was it?
That's when it was working.
That's when it was working, yeah, locked up and all the rest of it. But yeah, if you're just joining us, Tony Cairoli, no points on the board for him in this first race, Swedish Grand Prix at Uddevalla. Went out on 2nd or 3rd lap. The rear wheel locked up. The engine was still running because he was trying to get it fired up. He's got electric start on that 350, so it wasn't an engine malfunction, but the chain looked pretty tight. Could have been a stone in the rear brake or inside the sprocket area, and just couldn't get it freed. And he did try, though, for 2 laps, didn't he?
Oh, he gave it a really good effort. Can't fault his commitment ever, but then that's that. You know, you win 5 world championships, you don't give up on things very easily. That's why he wins as many races as he does.
Official confirmation then of MX1 Race One here, the Swedish Grand Prix at Uddevalla. Clément Desalle wins it by 20 seconds from Christophe Porcel and Sebastian Porcel. Sean Simpson, a great ride for him on the Monster Energy Yamaha in 4th, ahead of Kevin Strybos, Tanel Liot, Gauthier Paulin, Cedric Subarat, Xavier Bourg and Mark de Ruver in the points. Kender Dycker fought his way through to 11th, good for him, and Jonathan Barragan was 12th with Matteo Bonini, Kim Lindström, August Just, Nikolai Hansen, Santu Tienen, Tom Jonsson, Alfie Smith and Rasmus Sjoberg. No Philipparts, crash for him. Boissier crashed, Guarneri crashed. And Bobryshev also early on was running 4th or 5th in the early stages, but we saw a shot of him riding through pit lane, the right sleeve rolled up. Looks like there's a little bit of claret on that elbow as well, so might need a little bit of needlework.
I'm going to try to get back there and try and get the lowdown and find out what certainly happened to Philip Arts, because we're not too sure, are we? At least we knew what happened to Bobby, but Philip Arts just literally disappeared from the race, so let's hope it's not too serious on that one.
What's that, 22 points? The gap down now between, so it's less than a moto. Had 47 points before we came here, Tony Cairoli. Still, 22 points, it's not bad, but it's
not where it would be.
Puts the pressure back on, doesn't it?
It does indeed, and it'd be interesting to see how he responds second moto, but obviously Cairoli, knowing him, will just, I'm sure he'd be absolutely fired up to go out there and stamp his authority back on it all.
Of course, we're in Latvia in a couple of weekends' time. Been there before? Did you go and watch?
I've never been there. I've just had the privilege of watching it at home, sat on the television, drinking coffee rather than being here. But I'll probably be doing that again. No, I can't make it to that one, so I shall. You'll have to inform me through the wonders of TV.
TV media.
Yeah.
Do like this place, though. We're going down to speak to our race winner, though. Here's Clement Desalle.
A difficult race for many, but how was it out there for you?
Yeah, my start was not so bad, you know, like top 5. And then in condition like this, you know, I have yes, some experience that you have to wait and just ride your own rhythm, and this is what I did. And then I find a solution, and Christophe Porcel was leading just before me. And after I just ride for myself, do what I can, and then I take some gap and I finished first. It's good. I would like to dedicate this moto victory to my grandfather.
Well done, Clement. We'll see you second race.
Yeah, Clement Desalle's grandfather passed away very, very recently, of course. I think just before Portugal, and having a bit of a hard time. Very close family unit are the Desalle family, but you know what? He was there. He got a great start. Found a way past Porcel. The important word there was patient. He used his experience and he bided his time, and he came away with 25 points, and of course closes down that gap in the championship to Tony Cairoli to 22. Puts the pressure on the KTM rider, though, but obviously Cairoli, not having 40 minutes out in there, he does not know how the track's changed. Of course, it'll be different for MX1 again anyway, because there's going to be an MX2 race. But second was Christophe Porcel. Here he is.
Christophe, considering you're not feeling well, that was a really great race from you.
We can say it was, but I mean, I got a good start, and then my brother was right behind me, so it was the perfect race. And then I had some issue with my goggle, like I think the film just broke the first lap, so it was weird because I was leading. And then when we get the lapper, then I got like a lot of stuff on my goggle, so I couldn't see, and Clement passed me, and then I took it out, and then I broke my boots, so you know, second is okay, you know, and we'll see for the second moto.
We'll see you second moto.
Tough ride, tough conditions, expect the unexpected. Goggles being the thing that could cause you the problems. Motors TV, though, that's it. Will join us back here in an hour for MX2 Race 2. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Jeff Perrett, mxvice.com.
Sebastian, it's great to see you in that top 3 finally. Are you happy with that result?
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting this podium since maybe 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm pretty happy to be here, and it's fantastic for me. I'm really surprised. Yesterday I got a good qualifying, but on the race sometimes I make some mistake, but now I took a good start, and it was good for the first moto. But now we've got a second moto. It's going to be hard, and I try to do my best.
Well done for the first race. Well done.
Vi är beredda med kanske lite hörselskydd eller öronproppar eller vad vi nu har i våra händer för